Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Incompetent Nerds. I'm your host, Mark, back with my good buddy Tank, and for the first time collectively, D as well.
Yes, we here. Let's do it.
And we are the Incompetent Nerds. And since Christmas and the holidays are around the corner, we thought it would be cool to talk about budgeting and sort of how we navigate that with the holiday season coming up upon us. Regardless of whatever you celebrate, everybody's buying gifts this time of year. Everybody's buying stuff, but it's important to do that stuff on a budget and to knock over what you make as your income, obviously. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
Definitely.
And D wanted to bring up some questionable apps that he found in the media. So I'll let D take it away.
All right. So I was getting drilled with this all while I was on YouTube, and I would see this commercial of somebody saying, "Yeah, this is how I could get my money next week. Why wait 2 weeks to get my paycheck when I could get it right now? For this small fee, I could get access to some money from my other check." What do you all think about those apps? Because they have multiple of them now. Well, different apps now.
So
of these cash apps.
Small fee.
Yeah. So go ahead.
So I have to pay a small fee to get access to my money a few days earlier. I don't know. It sounds like a scam. Like these fucking check cashers in place.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah. So I guess I'm on the same page as Tank, more so, and here's why. Because, Tank and I both have, we have, jobs, like we have a steady income. We know what our paycheck is most of the time. So if you're needing your paycheck a few days early, that means you either spent you ain't budgeting right, but that also means that you don't have enough credit to get at least one credit card. Because if you have one credit card and you swipe, let's say you buy a Snickers and it's $2, right? By the time you actually pay that $2 on your credit card, that's 45 days later, at least, minimum,
right,
before they even start charging you interest.
Yeah.
So for them to say, get cash in your bank account, the next day, leads me to think that they're targeting folks who maybe aren't in the best financial health, or they don't necessarily understand how finances can be used properly.
These are some interesting perspectives from you guys. Well, here's how I look at these apps that say that they give you money before your check. It's a loan. I'm sorry to bust people's bubbles, but it's just a regular loan.
That's
all.
Oh, and just for the record, the two websites we looked at were hellobright.com and dave.com.
They will be added below.
Yeah, but they're just loans. That's all they are. They're similar to a payday loan in between something. But if you have a credit card, you could just use that if you're really in that pinch.
Right.
Just be sure you don't get into credit card debt. Don't
lie
damn.
Of course, you gotta pay it off.
Yeah, because no matter at the end of the day, you gotta pay it off.
Yeah, that's the second part of the cast. But I wanted to ask you guys so I think that it's a loan, right? They reach out to you guys and they're like, oh, we'll put it in your account the next day, or a check cashing place. Do you ever notice how the way they have check cashing places are always not in great neighborhoods? I don't know if you guys could back that up.
They are not, because it's the same thing here.
Yep, same thing in Chicago.
Yeah, and then those apps too, when I see ads for them, they kind of look like an Instagram ad. They're trying to convince people who are maybe less, so don't have as much socioeconomic status, and maybe they're just on Instagram for I don't know, the first time, but those ads do not look professional at all.
Right.
So exactly. I'm gonna say this. I'm looking at hellobright.com, and I went to the about page, and it's like our mission. They got photos of people there. You got like folks in their 20s, 30s, average looking people to entice like these people. Like, hey, come on through. These are normal looking people of your demographic, and we really want to fuck you over. Sorry, D, but I'm being dead honest.
No, I get it 100%. And I was sketchy about it too. So what I did was, for you guys and for the audience, I actually downloaded the app and then I used it just to see what would happen.
Okay.
And what I found out was that there's like a one-time fee once you actually start paying the money back. So for example, let's say that I borrowed $100.
Okay.
I won't be charged any interest at all. But what they would do is they definitely suggest me giving a tip. And then they also, with Hello Bright, they basically had like some $9.99 subscription that I could automatically have money come to my account once it reached a certain point. Which I do feel like that's kind of a trap in a way, because here's how I'm looking at how this loan is going to work. You're basically, air quotes, you're taking money off of your next check, and then your next check is short. Then you need more money from your next check. So then it kind of creates this cycle of you having to keep borrow money because you're always off that amount.
Yep.
Yeah. And plus it's a $9.99. Yeah, you see how that is? Yeah. It's really, really slick.
Right.
It's
So
like
they basically want people to get into that cycle of getting that extra $100 2 weeks early, and then you're always gonna expect that $100 on that day, on that 2 weeks.
Right, and it creates a circle, and you're paying $9.99 a month. Which, if it's $100, that's close to 10%, which is higher than a payday loan.
Yeah.
Right. That's terrible. That's a terrible interest rate, but it's not. It's not set up. It's I think it's kind of dishonest or whatever you want to call it. It's basically lying to say that it's a monthly fee when really you're charging me to use a loan service.
Right. Exactly. And they heavily suggest that you tip them and stuff like that too.
Well,
and I even heard that if you don't tip them, I also heard if you don't tip them, they're not going to let you get access to as much money as you did before.
Interesting.
All right, so here's a tip: go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Like I said, guys, if you all need any extra money in the pinch or something like that, and if you all have a credit card, remember, you always have to pay it off in full, but then that could give you that leeway just in case if you needed a bus card or some gas money or something like that.
Yeah,
Plus,
credit cards
help you towards your credit score.
Credit cards do buy you time, but they do not necessarily buy you a better interest rate or a better deal.
No.
So, but they do buy you time, which is sometimes that's all you need is time.
Yeah.
And it's not 10% that you have to pay on a monthly basis,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, check this out. So I'm looking at Dave.com. And went to the About page, of course. All the little artwork. It's just cartoony, cool looking.
Yeah, it's very
sweet.
it's very pleasing to the eye.
Yeah. But here's the mission: to change people's lives by building approachable financial products. Really? Okay, which one we had a tip? Was it Dave or was it Hello?
Oh, both of them. Because
you gotta tip both of these? Fuck that.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to, but they highly, highly suggest that you do.
I don't know if you guys have seen this one. It's called Earnin. Earnin's really big. Yep. Earnin's even been on TV, on commercials.
Oh, wow.
And so I know that's like a big popular one, but the financial products one is crazy because they're not like, if you're going to teach people about their finances, I feel like you shouldn't have an agenda. You shouldn't be benefiting from it.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're D.
Right. Only if it's me, guys. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's one thing to be like, it's one thing to like put information out there and be like, here it is. If you want it, take it. If you don't want it, don't. But it's another thing to be like, oh, here's this product and it's gonna help you like get a better understanding of your finances. When in reality, it's just
BS.
another way to steal more of
Yeah.
your, or not take, steal, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
take
just
more
steal
of your
more
money.
money from them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
AD,
pretty scumbaggy. Yeah.
I have a great idea for eoifcake.com.
Yeah, what's
On
up?
every article, you should have a link. I mean, not a link. You should have like a little like a widget or something, and on it says, "I highly suggest you tip me for this information," and that they don't have an option to give you $1. It's either $100, $200, or credit card debt. That's the options. Like, dude, isn't that just amazing? People will do it,
Bro, I'll be rich as shit. But
especially.
no, but I'm not even gonna lie. American citizens, the citizens, they're pretty smart. They're kind of fully aware of when something's bullshit and when it's not really.
Unless you're a
I do
Last
kind of
Jedi
trust the
fan.
people with that.
I had to stick
Here's
that
a
one in
different
there.
question. When would you guys tip for information? Obviously, there's tipping at like a valet or like a waitress or a waiter, but when would you tip for information? Like, when do you think, like, oh, this information was valuable to me, I'll tip? Like, when's like, what has to happen in your brain, I guess?
Well, there's a rule of thumb in the finance world where it's basically like if you just ask me about something and that information is free. However, if I sit down into an office and then I become your consultant, once it gets into that consultant territory, that's when you start having to have to pay for stuff. But you could always just ask somebody, hey, how would you do this budget and all of the other stuff for free pretty much. But if you need like a tax professional to sit down and look at everything, you gotta pay them for that.
I meant more so on like an informal basis. Like if you were like looking at, and it doesn't have to be finances, but like if you were looking at somebody online or even like a YouTube channel, or like when would you tip for like entertainment or information, I guess.
Shit, you're gonna
I
get a like,
honestly
you're gonna
wouldn't.
get a like, comment, and subscribe. That's my fucking tip.
Right.
No,
And
I
which I'm
agree.
cool with that
I
too,
think that
yeah.
like that stuff goes a long way, but some people do like Patreons, or some people do like
Yeah,
I don't know. I believe that like you should at least give people something. It could be something super cheap and it didn't cost you a lot of money to make, but as long as people feel like they're getting something for what they put in, I think that's where I find value.
yeah,
Yeah, it has to be a valuable exchange in order for it to really work. So if you have a
Hmm.
product that's actually like helping them out, even if it's like a regular like PDF file, but if it's very valuable and then you're charging people for it, then screw it, do it. But yeah, likes and subscriptions and stuff like that, I feel like that's where it should be, you know.
yeah. So for Mark, it's for like Patreons and everything. Don't get me wrong, and this is just me. I am not. I follow a bunch of YouTubers and like Instagram folks, artists and everything, and of course, is they're like us. They're content creators and they're constantly have the links to like to certain of their social media sites just to get better following, or even their YouTube to get some ad revenue. But of course, they also have that Patreon, and everybody, and they always say $1 goes a long way, or sometimes they give you a ridiculous number like, man, $1.13 goes a long way for the channel.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'd be like, where the hell you get the 13 cents from? I understand maybe a dollar 25, $1.50, $2, but $1.17, goes a long way for this channel. I really appreciate that if you join the Patreon.
So actually, I can tell you why from a psychology perspective.
Shoot.
So you are so studies have shown that you are more likely to donate if somebody asks for a specific amount. Obviously, you're
That is
not going
so
to reach
true.
out of your pocket and give $1.17. You're going to give the $1.25 or the $1.50. But because they're asking you for 17 cents, you have to think in your brain, wait, can I afford that?
Yeah.
And usually when it's a lower number or when it's an obscure number that your brain doesn't normally process, then you're more willing to say yes. For example, the one that they tried that didn't work was 99 cents. And the reason 99 people say no to 99 cents is because of the 99-cent store.
Yeah.
We have an association with, oh, I can get this for 99 cents at this place. So we associate that number with getting certain goods.
Yeah.
And from the opposite perspective, let's say that I was homeless and I was pandering one of you all for money, and I would basically say, "Hey man, can you let me borrow $75?" And you'd be like, "What?" And then I'll be like, "All right, I'm sorry. How about $2?" And then you'd be like, "Oh, I could do that." So it's kind of like it's that psychology that you're kind of playing
Right.
with,
It's a downward comparison.
I feel like I'm the only dark motherfucker in this room that would just be like, keep, and I just keep walking.
Oh, I do the same thing. I don't even let them tell this whole story that they already have, constructed out, and don't do it. Especially when you're in Chicago, that's kind of a no-no.
I had some guy ask me for some change to get on the train, and this mofo taps in with his nub. He was missing his left arm, and he was telling me, first of all, I didn't have any cash to give them, poor man, and two, he was asking me for a couple dollars to get on the train, and he goes, man, I don't have, I'm missing an arm, and he goes, let me show you. I'm like, no, bro, you don't have to. Taps in with the nub. I was like, why? I'm like, I believe you. I can tell.
I believe you the first time.
I'm like, I believe you the first time because, for one, I'm seeing it. That part of your jacket, that sleeve, is totally flat. I can tell you're missing the arm. And it's not like, how some people be like pretending like, oh, I'm missing an arm. They have their whole arm inside. You can tell right away, bro, you look extra wide. Stop. I can tell. You as thin as my pinky, and you gonna go ahead and tap me with the nub.
Right.
So I just got up. I just started walking away. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. I kept walking.
I can't.
Not.
But I do encourage, to help people, that are, in a worse predicament than you are. But you kind of have to just figure out. I don't know. You kind of have to weed through the bullshit, pretty much. No,
I get it.
Because there are a lot of scammers and schemers out here.
No, I get it. And there's many times I have done it, like when I do have cash, when I do have change, and we both know, me and D, and when Mark was in downtown over here, there's a lot of homeless folks just walking around downtown. And don't get me wrong, there's many times where I had the change or I had a couple singles and I'll just pass it to them and keep going by and then minding my own business. I don't need no recognition because I'm helping this poor person get a meal or get a ride to the homeless shelter for a hot meal and a warm place to sleep. I don't give a damn. Here, take the $2. I'm on my way. Exactly. I just go about it. But when there's times, especially this generation, it's like we hardly carry cash.
True.
Yeah, that's
we're all caught.
Right, that's a problem that I want to carry cash. Like I think like I always need a few dollars on me, but going to the bank and literally taking out $20 or whatever is so out of my way now that it's I don't even think about going. Yeah.
I used to every payday I used to take out $200, and that was my cash. Now it's just more like 50. It's only more like when I need it. If I'm planning on going somewhere and I know I might need the cash, that's when I'll go and maybe pull $50. But beforehand, I used to take out $200. I used to leave $100 in my wallet and another $100 in my drawer. So whenever I went through $100 throughout the week or maybe a weekend or whatever, I had the other $100 waiting for me, so that way I don't overspend, especially when it comes to cash. So that was my little routine until I started seeing why am I constantly carrying? I really don't need the cash no more. Apple Pay and Google Pay and the Samsung Pay make things a lot more simpler at places. Even came to a point where it's I don't need to carry all my cards no more. My wallet's gonna be thinner. It's just more my wallet just has my identification and just 2 cards. And
so that's interesting that you said that. You don't have to tell. You don't have to say the answer to this. But do you think because it's quote unquote easier, have you found yourself spending more?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying right now. Is more like I'm trying to budget, trying to organize everything. Which beforehand I was spending more, but now I'm seeing myself slowly spend less. Like past few weeks, I've been not eating out as much. Especially for work, I haven't been buying lunch. I've been having lunch prepared. Sometimes breakfast. I'll do like some small groceries, especially to I could leave at work for breakfast just to eat over there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm starting just to save money on, I don't have to get breakfast anymore every morning, or I had to buy lunch or do this or do that. I just keep my mind focused. Like, all right, the $100, the $50 to $100 I'm gonna spend on lunch and breakfast in a week could go to something else.
Right.
Right.
Well,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
that's totally. I totally get that, but it's interesting how you said it's easier, but it made you spend more.
It did, and I caught
So
myself with that.
I would argue that the easier or some spending more is the harder thing to do, right?
No, you got it right. Like, it was a problem until I
Right.
caught myself.
Right.
So I
Right.
kept the same habit, and where I only went to good cash when I needed cash, put the cards that I didn't need to use away, and just keep that mindset. It's all about that mindset. So I kept the same habit. Don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
I changed my mindset on it. I changed just the habit on spending more. Dude, I got rid of Amazon on my phone, which was back in the day was the worst place for me to have.
Ooh.
I canceled
That's
my Prime after
membership.
my Prime membership was up. I canceled it. That was it. Deleted Amazon
Wow.
off my phone. Now that's gone. The only shopping apps, um, well, I can't say I did delete it, but then I did add it again because when I do go shopping, I like to, uh, what's they called, the price match,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just to
Oh,
get,
and Best Buy or things like
yeah,
that, or
best like Target, Best Buy, whatever places
yeah,
I'm at
yeah,
that I like to price match. So
yeah.
I, I did added it back a couple weeks ago. Well, about a week ago, and I just forgot about it.
But you
Uh,
didn't sign in, or you
Did,
don't use it
no, I didn't
regularly.
sign in. And when I went to go sign in, because I was trying to find some snow boots, something I need, well, just winter boots. I forgot my password. I was like, "Fuck!" And here's the best part. I even when I created my account, when I have my account, I even set up the second authentication, second,
Two step
yeah, the two-step
Yeah, the
authentication.
two-step.
authentication or the two-factor, whatever. I set that up. So not that I just had to do that, try to figure out my password. I had to do that too. I was like, God damn it! I made this shit even difficult for myself to get back in.
That's hilarious.
That is
And it
hilarious.
was all because I was just trying to look for some damn winter boots.
Damn.
Well, I think that happens to the best of us, but that was a great transition into spending for the holidays. But that was a lot of good tips. You deleted the Amazon app, you deleted Prime, uh,
So
you just kept increased your mindfulness. What anything did you do anything else specifically?
yeah, get myself into real deep credit card debt and paying for it now. That really
Good
helped.
thing.
That really helped with the whole like not eating out as much or drinking or doing other crazy stuff. So there
Yeah.
you go, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourself in horrible, horrible credit card debt. It will fix your financer life like
Yeah, you're
that.
right. It'll help you out. Yeah. No. Shout out to that, you know?
Shout out to that.
We're sponsored by the national debt, trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
Locking it down.
Brought you by the IRS.
All
We'll
right,
fuck
let's
you
go.
for free.
Yo, if we were sponsored by the IRS, bruh, that's gonna be amazing.
First of all, if IRS is who the fuck could get if we? I swear to God, I feel like if we get sponsored by our IRS, IRS doesn't sponsor nobody. It's just a
'Cause
fucking
they don't.
service.
Yeah,
But
they
if
don't
we're
need to.
if we're ever sponsored by the IRS, I swear to God, D, I will No bullshit. Go streaking in 0 below degrees if that was the case.
Right. Because that's where I get all of my, well, most of my information from the website is from the IRS site. But the IRS site, well, I'm gonna take a quick little tangent, but if you all go on there to look at their financial, the way that they describe it, they're terrible at describing it, but the information is definitely there on the IRS.gov site.
So what do you mean by information?
So yeah, so they'll tell you about what a 401k is and what different investment options are and what the penalties are and things like that. But it's worded in this. Yeah, but it's worded in this really, really difficult way that makes it very difficult to understand if you're a beginner, and if you don't know what's going on. But yeah, the information's there. But if we get sponsored by IRS, that's good.
And today's episode today we're talking about fuck the government, sponsored by IRS. Yo, first of all, that'll be a great fucking title.
Yeah.
That'll be a great title, fuck the government, and then followed by sponsored by the IRS.
Right. Yes, that should definitely be the title right now.
I don't think that'd be a good title. We're definitely gonna get axed.
I say do it. Just do it.
Hold on, Mark is the voice of reason. What you think, Mark?
For the sake of my career, I would say no.
More like for the sake of our lives. We don't want to wake up dead the next day.
Lives, career, same thing.
Lives, career, same thing. Either or. You'll catch me in the corner begging for 74 cents.
Right.
All right.
On to the next. Do you have any holiday? What are your holiday or budgeting tips in general? How do you prepare for the holidays?
You don't buy shit.
Well,
I
asked D.
That's what I'm responding from.
No, that's definitely not the case. So, I don't create. Well, here's my financial situation. I don't really create budgets anymore because what I found out was that, working as a bank teller and stuff like that, what I found out was that budgets really don't work for most people because with budgets, it takes a lot of discipline, and most people don't really have discipline, I feel. So with me, my approach has always been focus my money on two things, something that's just solely for me and something that impacts other people. So for right now, I just kind of focus my money on Yu-Gi-Oh! And like dates and stuff like that. And whenever you focus your money on something specifically, what you find out is that the other aspects of your life involving money, you tend to kind of shrink those categories down because you're so focused in on something else. Okay. So I feel like that's the way a person should do a budget. So, for example, Mark, let's say that you wanted to buy 2 pair of Jordans every month or so, which that's all right. We're not going to judge anybody on what they want to buy with their money.
It's a tank here.
Right, but if you focus in on what you really want, then you kind of align your priorities up with that. So then you'll be aware, like, okay, I have to set money aside to get these shoes. Therefore, I don't really need to eat steak because I'm not even a big fan of steak. Or I could actually drink coffee in the office because I'm not even a big coffee drinker, and that's a lot of money. And then it's ruining my chances of getting these 2 pair of shoes. So with budgeting, it really all comes down to just focusing in on something that you really, really want.
Right.
And that's the trick.
I like that. I've heard like something similar with like diets, because obviously like diets have been around for like a long time, but they're super hard to stick to. Right. Blah blah blah. But this one lady has this perspective that I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she has the perspective that you should basically learn how to be an intuitive eater. And what that means is whatever your body is telling you to eat, you should eat. Because if you have a candy bar or a protein bar, did you eat the candy bar because you actually wanted it, or did you eat the protein bar because you thought you should eat it? Right? Both of those are wrong. You should be listening to your body and saying and asking it like, do I really want this protein bar? Do I really want this candy bar? And then making adjustments accordingly.
No, you're right. And I
Because
also heard from. Oh, go
yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry, Mark.
No, no,
No,
no.
all right. I was just gonna say what I heard from a fitness expert was pretty much the only time you really will want to eat is if your stomach growls to give you some type of physical indication that you need to eat,
Yeah.
and you
Right,
have to follow that.
right, right. I agree. I agree.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead
What
and.
do you think about that, Tank?
Well, I will say, following Mark on how he said about the lady. So yesterday I had a team outing with with my coworkers, and my body was saying grab the shrimp tacos. We had a build your own taco, and it was
Ooh.
shrimp, chicken, and pork.
Mm.
I took a little bit of
Al
shrimp,
pastor pork or regular pork?
regular that was regular pork, not pastor.
Oh,
So it was so we built my own taco. So I had a chicken, I had a pork, and I had a shrimp. Then I want to save some for of course the rest of the teammates. There was about 20 of us. As time went on, people were more focused on drinking than eating. But I figured the shrimps were so good, they were gonna be gone. So I decided let me go back and get some more. Bro, it was like a bottomless pit. My body was telling me, fuck that, eat the shrimp. Oh, me and my coworker, me and my colleague, me and him were just destroying the shrimp. That there was still somehow more left. I don't know. There was a fucking fairy in there making more for us, but man, we did not put a dent in that bitch.
you did not even see when they like
Damn.
refilled it. You were like, oh man, we gotta eat a whole nother tray.
No, it wasn't even they were feeling it. It was like this is what we order is this is what we get. That's it. If you want to order more, if you want more sliders or you want more of this, then you got to order more. But this is all you get.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I kept telling my manager, "Hey, I'm like, hey, let me get a to go plate." She went stop and walked away. I was like, "You rude." It's fine. She doesn't listen to this podcast.
Why not?
Oh,
We
she
need
does now.
we need more sponsors.
First of all, do you let your manager or boss listen to the podcast?
I don't say that I have a podcast, but if they
Hey, check out this podcast. And you'll be listening. I know that voice. Who the hell? He's talking about me. That motherfucker's fired.
right.
Hey, my
It's not
boss
bad.
knows about me on the podcast, and she thinks it's pretty funny. So
Your
shout out to my
boss?
manager.
Oh, high
Yeah.
five.
Shout out
That's-
to management.
Shout out
That's
to
pretty
men.
cool.
Hey, I know we're getting very off topic, but I just gotta say one thing before we get back on topic is I can't do management. I swear to God, it is by far one of the worst jobs. I feel like personally, not to anybody, not to Mark's manager, most likely they're listening, not to Dee's manager. My manager's definitely not listening, so I could talk crap about her all I want. Unless one of you motherfuckers snitch. I can't do the job. I can't manage people. Hell, I used to be a
Why not?
teacher. I was a teacher, and I couldn't manage those kids. And they were adults. I wanted to throw a sharp object at them at times. Just like a heavy, sharp, or like something heavy with a point at the end, and you just want to book it at them and be like, man.
Management is not a difficult role. But what were you about to say, Mark?
I think it's not. I don't think it's for everybody. I think that's for
Yeah,
sure. I think there's people who are really good at getting things done, and that doesn't necessarily mean interacting with people or like managing people. Because then there's really good people that are good at managing people.
No, there is.
So.
And
Yeah, I see that.
I was a teacher once and having to deal with this kids, not even kids, adults, 18 to 24. Oh, how are you 18 to 24, but you still act like you're 13 and in high school, well, 14 and in high school, maybe 15, because 14-year-olds are scared. 15-year-olds are like, I've seen this shit before. 16-year-olds just don't give a fuck, and 18-year-olds are like, I'm already now.
Right.
But it's like, how you still have that high school mentality, and then tribalism at that. Now you got your own little. Now you built your own little clique too. It's like you came here to fucking learn and get the fuck out.
Yeah, but don't people sometimes at work do that too as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
true. Yeah.
Human beings are tribal.
Yeah.
Even in the same department.
Yeah.
Like,
That's-
don't get me wrong. Like my department, we're cool and all with each other. But even in my department, there's a couple people I want to choke.
Sure.
And I know everybody has that. It's like
fair.
that if you're finance department and over there is like you work in finance, but you're the accounting, the other person who's finance, but they do orderings, procurement, whatever. Y'all work in the same department, but half the time
Right.
y'all just want to just fuck each other up.
Right.
It's like rivalries.
It is, and then downstairs is fucking client services getting phone calls, and you just can't stand those motherfuckers. And the IT guy sometimes seems like that cool pothead friend that he's like, I want to chill with him, but then again, he might talk off my fucking ear.
Right. And I just want to say the IT department in any place, I feel like this is the coolest motherfuckers ever. You know, out of the whole entire like corporation or whatever. They're the coolest motherfuckers ever.
That's
like
good.
them and like mailroom people. It's like those are.
Whoa,
like,
what
my
is it with the
favorite group of
mailroom
people.
crew, bro? They're like one of
Bro.
the best fucking people to
They're
chill with.
always cool. Haven't you seen Elf?
Yeah.
Haven't you seen Elf at the Empire State Building? They're always the coolest people.
Dude,
Right, 100%.
mailroom
I have
crew is
never
always
met a mail crew I didn't like.
Exactly. That shit's fucking hilarious. They're like the best. When I go pick up my shit, I just literally hang out there for extra 5-10 minutes and talk shit. And it's
Right.
usually about other people in the company.
Right.
It's because they know everybody's name.
Uh-huh.
They deal with everybody's packages. They know like who's making the moves, but they just all they gotta do is sort it out, and then their job's done.
Right.
Oh my god.
At
Mailroom
my
crew was
old
like,
job- At my old job, they had like their own special like cafeteria area,
yeah.
which was kind of like cut off from everybody else. And I used to be so damn thirsty to get back there and eat with them and shit like that.
Hey, when y'all take lunch, I want to hang out. And they just have the
Right.
most fucking gossip, bro.
Yes, they know
And it's the
everything.
sweetest of the gossip. It's not no bullshit rumor like, oh, did you hear
Right.
this? Did you hear that the CFO was fucking the directors? Like, no, it's like, I don't believe that. It could happen, but I don't fucking believe. But when you go meet them, they throw out names like, yo, you hear Johnny?
Oh,
They throw out
Yeah.
names like, yo, Johnny from finance, bro.
Right.
There's stories about him fucking around with the with the accountants, that new chick from accountants and HR. That new chick that got into HR. Suppose there's rumors, and you just sit there like, holy shit.
Yeah, they know everything.
What is happening?
I don't know. We were
That's
supposed to talk about finance and how to budget. This shit went straight sideways, and I'm loving it.
Right. Shout out to the mailroom people. They are always
Shout out to
they
the
know
mail
everything.
room.
Hell yeah! Shout out.
They hold it down all the time.
Oh man. All right. Holiday purchases and budgeting. D, we already heard your story. Mark, what about yourself?
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about budgets in the past. I don't know. We've done so many episodes. Maybe we've talked offline about it.
Possibly.
But as I've gotten older, I've found that I value giving people experiences more than like gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I'm not really a big shopper. If I like need something, I'll probably try to find the best deal, or like I'll search out for it online. But I try to live by like two rules, and that's to try to buy as local as possible.
Yeah.
If it's either from my hometown to like SoCal to California to USA over China or whatever, if I can. But if I can't, then I look for the best deal and how to get it for the most efficient way possible. But the other thing I kind of do for budget is I kind of try to remember throughout the year what people want, or like things that made people happy.
Yeah.
And then I try to get it at that moment, to be like, oh, they would want that. Like, let me go get that. And it's like, okay, now I have one of those for when it's their birthday, it's Christmas, it's whatever. That way I remember what they wanted, and it's what they wanted, and it's a little, sometimes it's cheaper, or it's better off than buying it last minute at the holiday season times.
Yeah. Where's the fucking worst?
Yeah.
Right.
I like that, the whole giving them an experience. Me, I'll try to figure out like certain things like with my siblings, my partner, my folks, even nieces and nephews. You know, certain things that they like. So as a tradition lately, for my niece's nephew, my baby sis, and my girlfriend's daughter, I have been buying them for the past. I want to say for the past 3-4 years, I've been buying them the McDonald's gift cards, $10.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always been helpful. There's many times I hear from my brother or my sister or even my mother, like, it's been helpful. It's like in a pinch when your child's like, I'm hungry. It's like, fuck, come on, hurry up. And next, you know, boom, get them a burger or something. They'll be fine.
Sure.
That's smart.
It is, but that's not the only thing I give them. I get them that. So for them, I have a limit when it comes to the kids. My limit is usually about like $25-$30, and I get everybody in parts, which aligns up to my paycheck. I'm not trying to spend the whole $800 for one paycheck and then cry.
Right.
But that's what I'll do. When it comes to adults, like I'll get something like maybe some clothing, something meaningful, or something hilarious. Like I got my brother. My brother really likes what's that steakhouse?
Larson's?
No, not
Outback?
Not Outback. It's like a Texan
Black
one.
Angus?
There's a Black Angus steakhouse bar. I mean steakhouse restaurant. That's what's called.
Yeah.
No, I forgot the damn name.
That sounds racist. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, it's a black.
I mean, for cows, they call them Black Angus or Red Angus. I don't make this stuff up. Those
Longhorn Steakhouse.
Oh, we don't have those in Southern California. We have Black Angus. It's the same.
It's the
I'm
equivalent.
pretty sure it's the same chain.
It's the Kirkland brand.
It's a Kirkland. Freaking Costco.
Oh man, but I remember. So inside joke. My family, since my family's predominantly women, all the boys are given a nickname as Dick. So my brother, for the gift card I gave him, because he loves to eat the steaks there, even though he doesn't use the fucking knife, he eats like a savage. I bought him the card, and on it I put from Dick to Dick. So when I give him the card, he just looks at me like, really? I'm like, what? That was funny.
That's hilarious.
Oh man. Then and the same thing with more like certain folks are like, I like to give them like somewhat of experience. For the kids, they ain't gonna care for the experience. They're kids. They just want the fucking toy or the shirt or whatever and go and run around. But for the adults, I try to make it funny and meaningful, and like that, like I'll put something stupid on the card, like I did for my brother.
Right.
It was like a $20 gift card, Longhorn, and they put that dumb shit on there. He's gonna remember it.
Right. No, and you really actually said something really important, Tank, that I actually wanted to reach on about gift giving and holidays and things like that. It's really, at least what I know for myself and with my sister, we were all talking about it. We don't really remember all of the gifts that that my mom and dad or that anybody has ever given us.
Yeah.
But we do remember how people made us feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's the number one thing that you need to focus on. Don't necessarily focus on spending all of this money for that. If you create a great experience, if you make them feel good, that's what they're going to remember for the rest of their life, not the gift itself.
Exactly.
Right. And if you look back on like your childhood and you think of the memories, you remember what you were eating, you remember how you spent the day, you remember who was there. You don't necessarily remember the gifts you got.
Right, because I couldn't tell you what gift I had every year as a kid or anything like that. I don't remember. But I do remember the times where I was really happy and excited. I remember the big stuff.
Yeah, one of the big moments for my Christmas was Pokemon, when my mother bought me and my brother Game Boys with red and blue, and that was a real big moment. I don't know how old I was, but don't remember. I really don't remember how old I was. I think it was like 6, 7. Don't remember. But I remember getting a Game Boy and literally up to the crack of dawn playing fucking Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the big moments. And to this day, my mother knows, she knows her son, who's fucking old as shit and still loves Pokemon. She just doesn't understand the concept. Where I have a giant ass Pikachu statue on my desk. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a phase. This fucking guy really loves Pokemon.
Right. And one thing that I really remember is my PlayStation. My mom bought it for me. That shit changed my whole life. Cause one, I wasn't even expecting it, and then she come out with the first PlayStation.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just all about how you make people feel, and I feel like people need to focus more on that than monetary things.
Oh, yeah.
Even though monetary things could create those emotions too, but just keep it in mind. It's all about how you make somebody feel.
And I want to say, and I feel like we all three have this in common, but when it comes to like when our mothers gave us gifts as kids, why was it they had like the best presentation? Especially if it was like the top gift you remember. Like you PlayStation, me Game Boy. Mark, what about you? Like what was like the most memorable gift as a child your mother gave you that you would just like to this day it brings a tear to your eye because it was like one of the greatest things you saw or felt the greatest things you saw and also felt.
Remote control monster truck.
Oh, that sounds dope.
It's so dope, dude.
Especially where you live at, bro. That's perfect area.
I know, going off hills and shit and driving it down the street. That was great.
Damn, that sounds awesome as fuck.
Yeah, especially if you had that one kid be the one, hey, Johnny, go chase it. Go flip it over. But
right.
I feel like us three probably had the same thing. But when our mothers presented that, it was like a very like elaborate, just amazing, like, all right, for the last gift, here's to my little boy, and they just whip it out, and you're just like, ah! Fucking lose your mind.
Right. And my mom.
Uh-oh, did we just lose him?
I didn't want to say nothing.
You hear me?
Oh, go ahead. Repeat that again. You kind of went out there.
Oh, I was basically saying that my mom was sick when it really came out to like hiding gifts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what would happen is all of the like basic small stuff, it's like me and my sister could easily find those. But whenever it was like the big important gift or whatever, like the PlayStation and things like that, those were things that I'm not even sure that she even hid those in the house. She probably went to somebody else's house and held it or whatever. But
yeah,
I always found that like to be the common trend. The big main surprise I can never find, but all the little stuff I can always find and get my hands on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just reminds me of when my mother used to hide presents. Like growing up, you can't hide much in an apartment. And growing up, me and my siblings in an apartment building there wasn't a lot of spaces you could hide a lot of gifts. So we will know, like when mom leaves the house or the room, we'll be like, she'll yell like, don't go in my fucking room. Okay, mom, we won't go in your room. First thing we do when she leaves, we go in her room. We're like, where the fuck is it at? And we look around and see what she got us. But there was other times when she was like fucking like very smart. It's like, yo, we done turned this whole place upside down and I can't find shit. And that's because she either left it in the trunk of her car or she took it to my grandmother's and left it there to wrap.
She knew.
Oh, one of the funniest stories was my brother. So this is when me and my brother was like were like huge into wrestling, when WWE was F at the time. And I'll never forget my brother. My mom had already wrapped all the gifts, put them underneath the tree, and my brother was just so impatient that he poked up a hole in the package just to see what wrestler that he got. Then with that same bow, moved it from like the top corner down to cover the hole and then put it back. When my mother saw that, she instantly knew. This dumb motherfucker, I swear. She called his name. She called all of us and told us who did it. We all knew who she was gonna pick. So me and my sister were like, it ain't me. Why would we do that? My brother was like, it wasn't me. And of course my mother knew it was him.
Damn.
Hilarious.
And we weren't gonna rat him out, but we still all got in trouble because we didn't rat him out. Even though my mother knew who the person who was at fault there.
But that's how you gotta be as a sibling. You can't rat your brother or sister out. That's corny.
Yeah, you can't. You gotta live and die by your choices and your.
Unless
That's right.
It's prison rules.
But
You're right. It's straight prison rules.
unless they done fucked you up by eating the last cookie or whatever, or you had something in the fridge and they ate it, you know you right away, you 6'9" and right there.
Like
You know
I said,
it.
prison rules.
You know it. It's like, hey, that cake in the fridge is mine. Don't touch it. I'm gonna eat it back when I get home. You come home, cake is gone, and next you know you find out there's a hole in the wall and it's covered by a fucking shirt. Hold on. Mom! You snitching real quick. He ate my cake, he made a hole in the wall. Oh, I'm snitching.
My brother wasn't playing that shit. It was straight prison rules. We didn't say shit. But I guess when you grow up, you just kind of... I feel like that's kind of the way to be around with your siblings because it kind of creates this atmosphere of, of you all trusting each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with us, it was always prison rules. It's like nobody says shit. I remember me and my sister had a fight when we were like 5 and 6. No,
Yeah.
I think it was like 8 or 9 or some shit like that. So I punched her in the face and then she stumped me out in the hallway.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she stomped the shit out of me in the hallway, but she had a black eye or whatever. But she didn't want me to get in trouble. We go by prison rules. So she was trying to hide the eye and shit like that. So my mom wouldn't see. But eventually she saw it, but it's prison rules. It's, hey, we fought. We not saying shit. We don't know shit.
Well,
That's
we
how it
tried to
is.
talk about budgeting.
But instead, we got black eyes and got stomped the fuck out because nobody want to be a 6'9".
So, if you've taken anything from this podcast this evening, if you have siblings, there's prison rules in the holiday season.
Right.
Also, don't piss off your mom by searching for gifts. Oh my god, I got a headache now.
And single moms give the best gifts.
Facts.
Straight facts. Oh my god.
That's that overcompensation, It's instant overcompensation.
They're gift giving for two. So, if your parents are still married, try to find a single mom to get you a gift.
You'll be like, oh, shit, I got 2 PlayStation 5s? Fuck. Okay, cool.
Oh man.
Thanks, Mom.
Dude, no bullshit. The left side of my head just hurts so bad. I was visualizing D getting actually like she's getting stomped on.
Yeah, she beat my ass, and we was like 8 and 9 years old. She whooped my motherfucking ass to punch her in the face.
Oh man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in to Incompetent Nerds. The link to these shiesty ass websites will be in the link. It'll be in the description below. Oh man. Also a link to the shiesty ass website will be in the description below, along with all of our contact information, social media, and everything in between. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Incompetent Nerds. I am your host, Tank, and have a good night. Peace.
Peace.
Bye, guys.